TikTok compilation that might wake you up and change your reality. Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Are you? Are you? They strung up a man. They say we're free. Strange things have happened to you. I did not have you. Are you? Come into the truth. And call my forest up to you. Strange things have happened to you, stranger.
Your ego.
This is exactly like the movie, The Hunger Games, but in the real life. If you know, you know. Adapt the song with background music to avoid copyright.
As a demon. All right, picture.
Like,
Just,
you ain't gonna sit here and tell me that you don't have any ego.
how would I if I shaved off my eyebrows and made myself ugly as a lesson? I made myself ugly as a lesson. I destroyed my sense of character as a lesson.
I don't know if that's ego or if it's like an image type of thing.
It's not an image. It was me destroying my previous self. Everyone was attached to this black and yellow hair and this attractive mugshot that made me be perceived as a beautiful person. I destroyed that person and turned into someone else that was perceived as ugly. But I wasn't ugly inside. I was only ugly on the outside.
There you go.
So were you doing?
You're
that
not ugly, bro.
Who perceived you as that, or were you?
I was doing it for everyone. I was doing it for them. I was doing it for myself because I was the next step.
He was taken exactly when he needed to go. I truly think that God saw his positive efforts and called him home that day. Rest in peace, XXX Tentacion. If these pictures are true, they are definitely lying about our history. Let me know how you feel about this. Please drop a comment.
So you know that the Met Gala is a charity event, right? So I was curious, what is this charity for? Where is all this money going?
Yup.
So I Googled it. It
Uh-oh.
says the beneficiary is the Metropolitan Museum of Art's Costume Institute. So the beneficiary is the costume department of the Met. So originally, this whole Met Gala started as a $50 event. And you know the tickets are $75,000 each. And then it says the minimum cost at the table is $350,000. And it says in this article that they make more than the Super Bowl.
What?
The media value of the Met Gala is $543 million because they don't just make money off of tickets for their tables and their entrance fees or whatever it is. They also give away or sell media rights. They even sold live stream ad spaces to the event for $1 million each.
What?
$543 million, higher than the Super Bowl. that money is going to make sure costumes stay nice in a room? Anna Wintour, once she got involved, they started getting more charity, I guess. And she's saying the most visible and successful charity events in the world? All for costumes? For the costume department of the Met. $543 million a year for 1 year for the costume department of the Met. Because when Anna Wintour joined, the first time after the 2019 event, surpassing $200 million for the first time. Okay. My bad, I read that wrong. The media value is $543 million higher than the Super Bowl. Higher than the Super Bowl, meaning more than the Super Bowl. So that's not the total amount of the money, it's added to. Yo, that's white feminism at its best. White feminism. So Met Gala, $543 million more than the Super Bowl to make sure costumes stay nice in a room. Can somebody please explain? Make this make sense.
I mean, it is what it is, as long as it's used for a good cause. But I have a lot of question. How much money does the costume department need? And I wonder if money is being funneled for something else. And who does the Met donate to?
This is the last photograph of Cuban revolutionary Che Guevara alive. It was taken in Bolivia in 1967. It's a very famous photograph. This man standing right there is not familiar to most people watching this. He should be. He's about to be. His name is Felix Rodriguez. He's a longtime CIA officer in the Operations Directorate, and he joins us now.
Pleasure to be here.
Does he know when this was taken that he's about to die?
Not at that time.
So you told Che Guevara he was about to be killed?
Yes.
Wow. His story remember Che Guevara, but the other guy, no one remember him.
Teenager committed the single largest crime in Finland's history. But after he disappeared, he quickly became Europe's most wanted man. Julius joined a hacking gang at just 13 years old, and it wasn't long until he became infamous in the cybercrime world. By just 17, he was arrested and found guilty for over 50,000 hacking offenses, including hacking Tesla's website and Twitter page. But because he's from Finland and they have famously lenient sentences, he was not jailed and he was just given a 2-year suspended prison sentence. And because of that, just like many feared, it wasn't long until he made headlines around the world again. He and his teenage hacking gang shut down the 2 largest gaming platforms in the world on none other than Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. PlayStation Network and Xbox Live went out for roughly 100 million gamers who were unable to download games, register new consoles, or play online with their friends. I mean, bro became the Finnish Grinch, but this was nothing in comparison to what was to come. On October the 24th, 2020, a Finnish student opened a disturbing email, which not only included his full name, date of birth, and social security number, but the email read that they had all of his notes from his therapy sessions, and they would leak all of it online if he didn't pay a ransom of 200 euros. And it wasn't long until he found out it wasn't just him. Julius had hacked an entire therapy business and obtained the notes to private sessions of 33,000 patients. Keep in mind, these notes contained the deepest, darkest secrets of a large cross-section of the country, including sensitive conversations on subjects like extramarital affairs, substance abuse, opinions on the people around them, and even confessions of crimes. All of that was now being used as a bargaining chip. I mean, the hack was so massive that everyone in Finland knew someone who was affected. As you'd imagine, a bunch of people quickly paid up, but it was too late. Julius accidentally leaked the entire database, which, as a side note, is still on the dark web to this day. The impact of this leak was immediate and devastating, and a number of victims started taking their own lives as a result. One of the country's largest investigations ever was launched, an Interpol Red Notice was issued, and Julius became one of Europe's most wanted criminals. But the problem was, no one knew where he was. It wasn't until 2023 when he was accidentally picked up by French police after getting a false domestic disturbance call by his neighbor. He was quickly extradited back to Finland, where police began preparing one of the most high-profile trials in the country's history. Then, just today, he was found guilty of 30,000 crimes, one for each victim. He was charged with aggravated data breach, attempted aggravated blackmail, 9,231 aggravated dissemination of information infringing on private life, 20,745 attempted aggravated blackmail, and 20 aggravated blackmail. And for all of this, he was sentenced to only 6 years and 3 months in prison. But he's likely to only serve half of that because of the time he's already served in the Finnish justice system.
Why can't these hackers, mess with credit card companies or mortgage companies and use their powers for good? And in Finland, the prison is probably like a hotel. And by the way, I'm wearing my head up so you can see my eyes, because people asking me, why you never show your eyes? Well, now you see my eyes, right? You happy now?
5,000 a month. That was my stipend. But that's a lot of money. And he said I could spend it however I wanted. I would have diamonds. I had over $500,000 in jewelry. I had 26 fur coats. He didn't care because he was enjoying his life. And if he got mad at me about spending too much money, it didn't last very long.
But Stephen Beard was getting concerned. After 2 years, he gave Celeste a final chance to control her spending. He replaced her allowance with a trust fund of $500,000. Within 6 months, even that was gone.
She was burning through it. And when he tried to get her to see, she rebelled against that. And she decided that if he was going to put limits on it, he had to die, which is just absolutely insane.
Hello?
I need an ambulance, hurry. 3900 Laurel Canyon Road. My guts just came out of my stomach. Out of here. They blew out. Yeah, they blew out of my stomach.
Why would you fumble this bag? This is the definition of greed. Some people aren't ever happy no matter what you do. And now she gets $0 a month.
Anthony, Richmond, north of Richmond, the song. He's a 35-year-old male living in the Bible Belt in southern wherever, and he's a drunk, and he drives an old car that barely runs, and he's working in a dead-end job. And he's just fed up with himself. And he decides, I'm gonna quit drinking, and I'm gonna give my life to God. And he said, I decided to stop making it about myself and start making it about other people. And God gave him a song called Richmond, north of Richmond. And somebody with an old Samsung phone recorded him playing it in the woods and posted it on TikTok. It became the #1 song in the USA. He was the first artist not signed to a label to ever reach #1 Billboard charts in the history of the world. You want to tell me that you're not one idea away from that magical future? You don't understand how this thing works.
Yep.
But he's one of so many people like that. Those examples are all around us. They just look different.
Story like this give me motivation. I heard he even turned down an $8 million record label. Says he doesn't need or want the money. He does it for the people and for God. Very humble man.
Millions from embarrassing Northamptonshire Police Force. How'd you make the money? After the PC video.
Mate, you're fuck ugly. I wouldn't even bother doing that.
He pulled me in an unmarked car. His colleague opens the door, puts handcuffs on me straight away, gets me out, standing inside the road. As he walks over, they find a white tub, no label in my pocket. It was Alpha A5 weight loss capsules. What's this? Weight loss capsules. We don't know that. At the minute, you're under arrest for possession with intent to supply of A-class drugs. His colleague starts searching the back of the car. So I've said to him, you've got a warrant for that. He stops and he looks and goes, I don't need one. You've just been arrested with possession with intent to supply, so they've used that to search the car. As I've turned, bang, I get a slap round the face. It was one of them ones that really, really hurt, and I was like, oh. And he said to me, that's for making me look a prick. And the very first viral video, I've earned millions. So I looked at him. After the last time, not only have you lost, but I sold out on PC t-shirts worldwide. Slapped me again, and he looked at me and he didn't believe it. He went, you're deluded. Now, although I was getting cocky, all I was thinking at that time was, what's he putting in my boot? Because I said to him, where's the body cams? And that's when he told me, don't have body cams. And then another police officer turned up with a body cam and then transported me to the police station. So I was later on released without charge.
There's a sick
Dudes somehow earn more than that entire police force, has paid in compensation for the last decade.
Simpsons filter. Who cares what you look like as a Simpson? Let's go. Accurate as I got my club.
At least yours look like a Simpson. Mine just look like some cover of the next GTA.
Oh. Name. Who are you? What's your name? Who are you? Why are you suing my daughter? What's your name? What is your name?
Boris. My name is Boris.
Boris. What's your name? Shake my hand.
What's the problem?
Why are you suing my daughter? You know how old she is?
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I have no idea.
You have no idea.
No.
The fuck you thought was gonna happen here?
Nothing. We're gonna have a pizza. I don't know.
Pizza? Yeah, you don't know?
Pizza.
How old is she?
Brad.
That's not a good
You know how old she
answer.
is?
I matched with her. She was 23.
23. Is that what the conversation looked like?
You know the text messages? She was 23 on a
23.
dating site.
On a dating site?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, she was 23 on
How
a
old is
dating
she?
site. I have no idea.
Lila, how old are you?
I'm sorry. She was 23 on a dating site. All we've done is
So
talk.
she didn't tell you how old she was?
She did.
She did?
Yeah.
How old is she?
She said she was 15.
How did she tell you how old she actually is?
She said she's 15.
She said she's 15. Why are you here? Why are you sitting here?
I'm just having a
15-year-old?
pizza.
Piece of pizza with a 15-year-old.
It's not against
You think
the
that's
law.
okay?
I think it's not against the law.
It's not against the law?
No.
Is that all you spoke about to her?
We've just been talking.
Really?
Yeah, we've been talking and flirting. It's not a big deal.
Where are you going?
I ordered a pizza. I'm going to go.
Okay,
and get
have a seat. Have a seat.
Why?
I'll sit with you. I'll eat pizza with you. We're just having pizza, right?
Sorry.
Sit right here.
Sorry.
Sit right here.
Sorry.
Where? I don't know. Whoa, excuse me, sir. Excuse me.
You said you wanted a kiss, touch, and lick, whatever?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's just weird. I don't understand what people
So you're a
say.
pedophile trying to meet a 15-year-old. Oh shit. I'm sorry, it's not a boy. It's a girl.
Whoa.
Yeah, you are.
Wait.
You need to hear audio. You need to hear audio.
Look at this guy. Look. Clown. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna say.
What are you doing? It's like.
I'm like, we can't grab him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't grab him. You can't do that.
Let him go. Let him go.
What do you guys want to do?
You try to meet a 15-year-old.
Trying to meet a 15-year-old.
Okay, so what do you guys want to do in this case?
In this case.
Filming or you trying to arrest him or?
Yeah, the cops are on the way.
It is.
Well, just let everybody know in your building at $1,000 Windsor, there's a pedophile that lives here.
Yeah, well, you guys have it on camera and everything, right?
Okay.
I guess if you guys come daytime, then the office, they will have to whatever information they have.
Let's go. We got another one to catch.
Yeah, so
The guy is definitely a pedo, but fatally could be hit for assault for that. He's still right, but he could get screwed. What do you think? Especially in the Western country where the laws are tricky.
Not the dead you should be afraid of. It's the ones that are alive that will kill you.
Wait till you hear this story. Oh my God, I have chills.
Well, this actually happened to me and my mom. So she's my witness. And I know people think when I tell this story, it's like this girl is chasing, she reaching. Not. Okay. So we had a pastoral banquet, our pastoral anniversary banquet. And so it was on a Sunday, last day of the banquet. And we got the chairs from no other place than a funeral home. So we returned the chairs, of course, back to the funeral home. But my mom called the lady like, hey, we're getting ready to bring the chairs. And so the lady was like, just take the chairs, drive around to the back and put them on the by the door on the back because no one is there because we're at a funeral. Remember that part, okay? Cool. So when me and my mom go drop the chairs off, we just unloading the chairs because we're not knocking on the door or nothing because she said there's nobody there. Okay, great. We unloading the chairs and everything. And then I said, Ma, I think I seen that curtain move like that. I guess she didn't hear me because she kept unloading everything and, was just going on. And then after that, somebody opened the door. This big brown-skinned, bald-head guy opened the door, heavy set. And my mom was like, oh, you scared me. That man said, oh, I was just sleeping. And then he goes to say, it's not the dead you should be afraid of. It's the ones that are alive that will kill you.
Yup, that's right. He said it.
Anyways, so we continue on, my mama should go ahead, boom, unload the chairs, whatever. And the man proceeds to get the chairs from us and take them inside. But here's the thing. Whole time the man was unloading the chairs, he never got the chairs off the truck. He only put the chairs inside of the funeral home. So he never stepped out of the funeral home itself. But we paying no mind, whatever. So we get all the chairs unloaded. That man told us, now y'all have a blessed day now. We get in the car, Mom probably got 30 seconds down the road and had to pull over at a gas station because she literally was scared shitless. Literally had to go take a shit because she was scared shitless. So after that, we tell our encounterment to a family member, and my aunt, she's very nosy, very nosy. So she not called up to the place. She goes up to the place and was like, oh, I just came to let you know that my sister dropped the chairs out. And the lady said, yeah, we got her from off the back porch. My aunt no, the man helped her put him on the inside. The lady said, what man? She the man that was here with the suit on. This man had on a suit and his tie was untied. On a suit. Then my aunt looked over to a picture and it was the man on the picture. The dead man helped us put the chairs inside the funeral home. So we thought. We don't even know who this man is. And see, we've used this funeral home before because it's like a community funeral home or whatever. I've never seen that man ever before until that day. And obviously, I've never seen him afterwards for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's what happened.
His picture was on the wall. I'm wondering, did he work at the funeral home? Was that someone that used to work there, used to own it? Or because, that's the only thing I can think of, right? Because why would they have a person's picture on the wall that died unless there's someone that worked at the funeral home or was a relative of someone that worked at the funeral home? It's not like everyone that comes through there that they do funerals for, I'm sure they don't have their pictures on the wall. That would be kind of weird. I'm surprised that the aunt, because she was so nosy and went over there, didn't ask hey, who's that person? This was such a great, crazy story.
Ghost isn't real. Demon is. The demon is playing trick with your mind. But let me know how you feel about this in the comment. So handsome. I have 4 cats already, but I don't mind having another one.
I always keep this fake Hollywood money in my car, so when a homeless person asks for money, then I give them a fake $5 bill. So I feel good about myself, they feel good. And then when they go to use it, they get arrested. So I'm actually helping clean up the community, getting them off the street.
Not just cleaning up community, you are also giving him one place to live and 3 meals a day. I'm just kidding. Don't do this, okay? This is evil.
Look at some of Drake's insane deleted tweets. We're just gonna start off with a heavy hitter right here. I can't wait till she's 18. Here's another one. The kids I hang with are gonna be parents one day. Scary. The kids you hang with? Okay, if amazing was a young bitch, I'd be going to jail because I'm amazing. Saying that if the word amazing was a youngin, he would be
No.
This one's simple. I got a party with Bill Clinton on Thursday. He said, from Diddy view, I think I see his vision. If you didn't know, Diddy is currently on the run right now from the FBI for like child trafficking. Predator weak as hell in this movie. Put me in there. I'll show him a real predator. This one was also deleted, I think 8 seconds after he posted it. So he probably posted it, reread it, and said, let's delete this. Yeah, it gets better. Say long. 2016, he had this tweet up. If she's 16, I'm 16.
What?
High school pics, you even was bad then. Drake, nice for what? This is a real lyric. So these tweets are just absolutely insane, and Drizzy is just on a perk. But I think Kendrick won this because Drake has not really addressed any of these.
Drake be talking to every kid other than his own. If you know, you know.
Singapore, there is no trash. Every day, over 2,400 trucks collect all the garbage and dump it in the bunker. There are 4 waste incineration plants across the country to burn trash 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. The fire burns the trash in these factories, and the heat generated from this process becomes electricity to light up homes. The toxic smoke is filtered out and becomes super clean. The remaining ash, which they call new sand, is taken to a man-made island, which they soon plan to use for non-structural construction like pathway bricks.
Here in Indonesia, they just build dams right next door to poor residential areas. So their house probably smells like garbage all day, no matter what.
Stats that usually go unmentioned when it comes to the Otoya massacre is just how many people were actually shot but didn't die. While Breivik killed 69, he wounded a further 110, meaning that 1 out of every 3 people on Otoya caught a bullet from Anders Breivik. Many of those 110 survived much of the time, however, on sheer luck. For example, one girl who was shot in the face crawled out of the cafe while holding her own jaw. And just by chance, a woman who knew first aid found her and saved her life. And luckily, she did so in a spot where Breivik did not return. Because concerning Breivik's path, he had enough time to circle the entire island, finding more and more kids waiting on the shore for rescue. Then he had time to do it again, sometimes finding and shooting kids that he'd missed the first time around.
So people who stayed in the middle were more likely to be saved?
It all depended on what time. If you stayed in the middle in the beginning, then you were more likely to be killed. But if you went out to the edges and then moved to the middle, then you were more likely to survive.
I know this is so out of pocket, but his description of the positional survival rate reminded me of Fortnite or like any other similar battleground game. But rest in peace. Sorry to those affected.
The interesting development in the Pastor John Paul Miller case and the death of his wife. Remember, the pastor is the one who oddly announced at the end of a church service how his wife died.
I got a call late last night. My wife has passed away. And yeah, it was self-induced, and it was up in North Carolina.
Now, Pastor John Paul and his wife Micah had been separated for some time, long enough for Pastor John Paul Miller to have a girlfriend. And this girlfriend has an interesting past. Her name is Susie Skinner, and according to multiple sources, Susie and Pastor John Paul have been dating for quite a while. And that's interesting because the pastor and Micah Miller were not legally divorced. And as you can tell in this picture with Susie, the pastor still has his wedding ring on. But there's something disturbing that the pastor and Susie Skinner have in common.
We're learning more about the man who died after being found unresponsive in an Horry County pool. The victim was 40-year-old Christopher Skinner, a paraplegic and a motivational speaker.
Susie Skinner's former husband, Chris Skinner, died from a drowning accident. Chris Skinner had a tragic accident some 20 years ago that left him bound to a wheelchair, but he adapted and lived a beautiful life. And according to Susie, he enjoyed going to their community pool often by himself. And on Labor Day 2021, Chris did just that. But apparently something went terribly wrong. According to reports, Chris got too close to the pool with his wheelchair and fell in, with nobody around to save him. And as I said, Chris had been in his wheelchair for almost 20 years. And according to Susie, every day during the summer since 2013, they would go to this pool. So he was familiar with the area. But somehow, on Labor Day 2021, Chris misjudged how close he was to the pool and fell in. And guess who conducted his funeral?
It's very, very exciting. I was Chris's pastor, to preach a funeral in which I don't have to lie. It's probably my first funeral where I get to say all the truthful stuff, and that's because we know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Chris was a child of God, is a child of God, faithful husband, wonderful father, great friend, brother.
And if you want to read more about the life of Chris and Susie Skinner and how she's adapted to this tragic accident, you don't have to go very far. You just have to go to the pastor's own church website. The entire story is there. I want to be very clear. This is all just circumstantial evidence. As of now, there's nothing connecting the two deaths. But I do believe this is a very important part to a story that's becoming very complicated. A story that, according to friends and family of Micah Miller, it's very dark. Darker than what the good pastor wants you to know.
God hates divorce, but why? According to everybody I've asked and the scriptures that I've found, it's because it hurts people. But does abuse hurt people? How do you think God feels about that?
Wow. I feel like I'm watching Deadline or 60 Minutes. I'm getting more from TikTok than I am the news. What do you think? Don't go anywhere because we still have fire clips after fire clips back to back.
Priest is accused of spending over $40,000 of church funds on Candy Crush. I'll explain. A Catholic priest in Pottstown, Pennsylvania allegedly used a church credit card to spend over $40,000 on power-ups in mobile games Candy Crush, Mario Kart Tour, and Pokemon Go over a 3-year span. On April 25th, Reverend Lawrence Kozak, 51, was charged with theft and other related crimes according to an affidavit of probable cause for his arrest. According to investigators, an accountant working at Kozak's church discovered a, quote, astronomical amount of Apple transactions on the church's credit card statements while reviewing its finances in 2022. Allegedly, the Apple ID that purchased content in mobile games like Candy Crush and Mario Kart Tour was registered to Kozak. Detectives reportedly interviewed Kozak in 2022, and the priest told them that he was seeking out counseling for his mobile game addiction. He clarified with investigators that he had not spent the money on gambling, but instead spent the thousands of dollars on items to, quote, power up and gain an advantage in various games. He told the detectives he did not do this intentionally, though. However, he said it was possible that he had accidentally used church funds to buy in-game power-ups, saying he wasn't a, quote, details guy, and that he was sorry that he had, quote, let it get up to this point. Investigators noted that Kozak must have been aware of this theft to an extent because they later learned that the former priest had sent $8,000 back to the church, labeled parish reimbursements.
This is actually profound, in a way, because out of all the different temptations, bro folded to Candy Crush. I was a hardcore gamer. That's why I hurt my neck. So I understand him.
So they found Riley Strange's body this morning here in Nashville. And I do want to send condolences to his family and friends. But I also would like to say something to the younger people. I want you to be very picky on who you let in your life and call friends. A friend is someone who's there for you no matter what. A friend is there through thick and thin.
Yep.
Friends don't judge you, and friends won't let you walk around the city intoxicated by yourself. Friends stick by you, fight for you, and they fight with you. Things like this happen a lot because we get so comfortable with these friends. And it's very unfortunate. I hate that had to happen to him. And this message not just for the younger people, but for anyone. You can't call everybody brother or sister. And with that being said, y'all send good vibes to the family, and I'll see y'all next video.
Very well said. These were not friends. They didn't show a care in the world with help finding him. So quick to lawyer up. It's so sad. Rest in peace, Riley.
Happens after death?
This is what happens when you die. According to near-death experiences in several religions, the moment after you die, your soul will separate from your body. Your memories will fade as you will be pulled into a dark tunnel and drawn towards a bright light. It is said that within this light, you will sense your deceased loved ones, divine spirits, and an infinite amount of love. But what if you don't go towards that light? In one sacred myth, they say that the light is a trap for the soul set up by demonic forces. These demons, also known as archons, use the light to disguise themselves as your deceased loved ones, gods, and truth in order to draw your soul in. Once you are consumed by the light, they will use several different spiritual tactics to trick you to coming back to Earth. These demons do this because they feed on human suffering, so they need your soul to come back as many times as possible in order to harness and harvest your energy. Most humans fall victim to this soul trap and find themselves becoming a prisoner to the light. And so if you decide not to go towards the light and instead move towards the infinite dark void, you will be freed from the prison of reincarnation and return to your true home, where you will realize the true infinite potential of your soul. From this point, you will be given the option to travel to whatever other realm or dimension you so choose. And so after you die, you should be very careful before looking at that light, because
none of us know what happens after death. That's where the faith part comes into play. And according to biblical teachings, there will be a final judgment where all souls will be judged by God. And those who have accepted Jesus Christ and live according to God's will are believed to enter into eternal life in heaven, while those who have rejected God, will face eternal separation from Him in hell.
This paranormal story that's going crazy. This guy, he was in his house looking for toys he can give his kid. And he was looking through all of his old stuff, and he noticed in one of the bins, there's a notebook.
Yeah.
This is a notebook from when he was like 6 years old. And he says what he wrote in the notebook predicted how his father was gonna die.
No.
This is what it says on the Reddit post. Not sure if this belongs here, but I wanted to share. While cleaning out my mom's house, I found one of my favorite books when I was in 5th grade in 1990. I remember loving the book so much and I took it home. He gave it to his daughter, who's now in the 5th grade, and we noticed that I had written all over the first page. This is where it gets crazy. My dad died in 2020, and it was at the start of COVID, during a horrible accident, diagnosed with COVID once at the hospital. Now, on the picture and on what he wrote down, he accidentally wrote his dad.
Yeah.
And
what the? What?
And he
crazy.
And he doesn't know why he wrote it.
Nah, it is crazy though.
It's not even
That's
a word,
crazy.
right?
No time
What is Adam Sandler doing there?
travel, because so far no one from the future has ever shown up and said hi.
What that requires is that there's no time travel to the past, because the future person would then be coming to the past. We can travel into the future, however. Our understanding of that has been around since 1905, and it's Einstein's special theory of relativity. If I send you on a spaceship at speeds nearing the speed of light, and we watch you, we will see that your clock ticks more slowly than our own. And then you come back, that's the famous twin study. You send out your twin, they can come back, you aged 20 years, your twin would have aged only 10, depending on the exact speed. And so in that way, your twin went into the future. Now, you're right about the past. We don't know yet how to go into the past. There's some peculiar solutions of Einstein's equations that allow past travel, but then you can't interact with your life. You're in sort of another place. Because imagine if you could interact with your own life, prevent your parents from meeting. Then you would never conceive. Then you could have never been sent back in time to prevent your parents from meeting.
There can be.
The thing is, if people go to the past and change things, we never know that it's being changed here in the present. It's simply historic fact. Let me know how you feel about this.
Not kidding you. Just do it for 7 days. Do it from the time you hear this podcast, or you guys can start tomorrow. Do it from the time you hear this podcast for 7 days. You will never miss again. It will become your new drug of choice. Because what happens is it raises the dopamine, it improves your mood, it improves your emotional state, your diaphragm massages your intestines, it actually gets your motility in your intestines going. You elevate the amount of dopamine and serotonin in the body, and you flood the blood with oxygen. So for hours after you've done a short round of breath work, you feel amazing. The other thing you do is you make sure that you do it within 30 minutes of waking every day. And the reason for that is your circadian clock will get timed to that breath work. When you change time zones, as soon as you do breath work, your body will know this is the time to wake up.
Is this before my coffee?
Before your coffee.
Do you have coffee, by the way?
I do. Yeah, I don't have any issues with coffee. So I'll go outside, I'll do 3 rounds of 30 breaths with a breath hold in between, and then I'll go back inside and have my coffee.
If you're curious about how to do the breathing, search Wim Hof breathing on YouTube. I heard it's amazing. All right, this is the breathing exercise he's talking about from the previous video. I'm just kidding, folks. I too don't know what happened here. God bless this man.
Woman predicted almost every aspect of her murder. She came online detailing what was going on, asking for help just to be questioned and called a liar.
If you find my dismembered body laying all over Kokomo, John Christie, okay?
This is 44-year-old Brandy Bradley, and she came online saying exactly what was going on in this home and what she thought was going to happen to her. And this is the John Christie that she refers to when she said that if her body is found all over Kokomo, that it was him. She was living with him at the end of her life, and the last time anyone had saw her was January 19th. A missing persons report wasn't filed until February 11th for her. When police began looking into her disappearance, they find out that officers were sent to this home numerous times because of the way that John was treating her.
I've been choked out 5 times to unconsciousness.
Like she says in one of the videos that he would choke her out, friends and witnesses also reported the same exact thing because she was telling the truth.
Now, my bedroom door's been kicked in and my electric heater's been taken because it's his. The furnace don't work in the house, and now I'm getting questioned and being told pretty much it's bullshit that I'm posting this shit on public media. Do you have somebody threatening to murder you? Do you have someone kicking in your goddamn bedroom door to take their fucking electric heater back? Or, wait a minute, how about this one? If you don't shut the fuck up and listen and let him fucking talk, you're gonna get fucked up?
Following her disappearance, John started asking friends about using their burn piles, and he spray painted his truck. He told police that he worked in construction and he needs burn piles to get rid of the stuff that's left over. However, when police start going to different dump sites, they find one that was clearly recently set on fire. The police found the remains of a necklace, of a tarp, of a belt, and also human bones. Before her passing, she also posted this video of her inside of a dumpster that is on fire, and the sound is of sirens, almost as if he told her exactly what he would do. On February 26th, a man contacted the police saying that he had vital information, but he did not want to be charged for his involvement in everything. He claimed that John contacted him and offered him $500 to help get rid of the remains of Brandy. He said that when he got to the home, that Brandy was laying there with a bag and a belt around her neck, and that John said that he had flown off the handle. John allegedly told this person that Brandy had trashed the house, that he lost control, and used a wrench. The witness says him and John then loaded her up into the back of the truck. They went to the dumpster, and they got rid of her. And John is now in jail awaiting whatever's going to come next for him. There's videos on her TikTok where you can hear banging on a door and a man talking, and she asked for help. She told people she needed help and she didn't get it. It's really unfortunate when people ask for help and they don't get it, or in situations like this where DV happens over and over and over again, and yet this person doesn't get in trouble until someone dies. And a big reason that I'm doing this video right now is because of all of the victim blaming of her. One of the most dangerous times for a victim is when they are leaving their abuser. And the fact that it took so long for her to be reported missing tells me she might not have this big support system. She truly may have felt that she had nowhere to go. This is a huge reminder that if you are able to help, whether it's financially, with resources, advice, support, something. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 9 men will experience DV in their relationships, and yet it still feels so stigmatized to ask for help and to talk about it. I will keep you guys updated on when she gets her justice.
They never listen until it's too late. You know, women should be taken seriously. Imagine the fear in her heart as her worst fear comes true, and she knew it.
Y'all have been asking about the blob. I went really deep into it. Here's what I found. This is Brazil right now. So yet again, on the 6th of May, we had this anomaly. This is the third time we've had this anomaly. And it's always coming from the same exact place. But I found something really freaky I'll show you in just a little bit. But you can actually see in this map how it's dispersing waves this way, or what makes the radar appear to be waves towards, you know, Cape Town and all these things. Now there's a lot of boats going up and down that route, and they aren't seeing anything. So last night I took a trip on Google Earth to the island where all this stuff is originating. Look at this right here. It looks like 2 doorways. That does not look like natural. So I'm sitting here wondering, is this island really like a hollowed out piece of land where things are happening on the inside of it? By the way, if you want to look at it, this island is called Bovet Island, and it's a super remote island close to Antarctica. Now check this out. This is where the blobs are originating. I'm about to show you a really big one that comes from somewhere else in a minute. But notice how it goes up. What's this right here? This is Brazil. This is Brazil right now. This is also Brazil right now. This is also Brazil right now. Yeah, that's a horse on the roof. Now Brazil is under some of the worst flooding in history, but we can see some of it started in the 8th of April. You know, when the blob first caught mainstream attention. But now we have this May 6th blob, and we can see all this destruction in Brazil. And right now, Brazil is saying it's going to get a whole lot worse. So with these anomalies being shown, I was like, well, what's going to happen according to their model in the future? Oh my goodness. On the 12th, we are seeing this. Look at these waves, 50, 60, 80, 70 foot, coming right from Antarctica near where the island is, but straight up coming right off the coast of Antarctica. Why is it calling for this? Look at this, 80 foot, 90 foot. This is unheard of. To me, this has to be frequency. Boom, just like that, gone, just like that. It goes from this to boom, it's gone. That's not normal. That's not how things dissipate. My opinion is I believe these blobs are frequency and energy because the boats aren't seeing them, but we are seeing natural disasters around the areas and the waves pointing towards where they're going. I also put on satellite layer, weather layer, and temperature layer, and none of them picked up anything while this or the other one was going on. So mark down May 12th on your calendar and let's see what happens.
I went down the rabbit hole, and I think that's where Russia is testing Poseidon. If you know, you know.
So there was a woman that was followed by a ghost after leaving the cemetery. And she found out because the Tesla GPS picked up on it. Look at this, bro. There was a strange phenomenon that's going on with these Teslas in these cemeteries. It's even following her even when she's going 50 miles per hour. And this is not the first video I've did about these Teslas picking up ghosts at cemetery. But I have never seen a ghost follow somebody though. Like, do Tesla got Ghostbuster UAVs or radars or something? Because how possibly are they picking up on ghosts on their GPS systems? And Ganger, what you gonna do about that ghost that follows you home? I feel like that's the real question. Because that ghost looked pretty determined to get at you. Whatever you did to that ghost, you might actually want to call the Ghostbusters. I'm curious though, what would y'all do if y'all seen that y'all had ghosts that was following y'all? Let me know in the comments. Like and follow for more wisdom and stay tuned.
Do not go straight home after visiting the cemetery. Visit your mother-in-law first.
This is on the FBI vault, okay? The actual FBI's vault. And no, I did not find it easily. When I say I had to dig, I had to dig. Do you hear me? This is an up-close screenshot of the actual document, okay? I'm just gonna let you guys read for yourself. I'm pretty sure a lot of people already know about this, but if you didn't, and it's definitely not sketchy that they have all the names literally crossed out. But as you can see, blank reports contact with blank, claims to have aided 6 top Argentine officials. Hiding who? upon his landing by submarine in Argentina. Who reported to be hiding out in foothills of southern Andes. This is insane, people. I mean, this is a 203-page document, people. It goes on and on. I'm sure you guys can read for yourself and you don't need my fucking hand in your face. But I'm going to show you the most important documents so you can read them because this is some sketchy ass shit. But as we saw on the last page, Mr. Blank was one of 4 men who met who? In his party, and if you can't read this part, approximately 2.5 weeks after the fall of Berlin. I mean, there's full-on clarification in all of these documents. But that's not even the sketchy part, so stay with me through the course of this video. But here's the second page that everybody needs to be reading, so I'll just let you pause and read it for yourself. But this page right here is the most important page that you need to read. This is from J. Edgar Hoover himself, people. Do keep in mind, Argentina in itself, right, had over 2 million citizens of who? Descent alone. Now, as you can see, the final period of what immigration to Argentina occurred between 1946 and 1950. I mean, literally, in this little time period right here, the country received over 12,000 of them. And in 1995, Bariloche itself made headlines in the international press when it became known as a place for what? Such as the former what? And what? Look at this. He had been the director of the what school of Bariloche for many years. And I'm sure we all know about the supposed rumors. I'm not claiming anything to be true, by the way. This is for educational purposes only. But that man himself, I'm sure we all know who he is, said that that man was either living in Spain or Argentina. And these are the specific claims right here. I'm sure you can read that for yourself and you don't need my hand in your face. But they were provided sanctuary by the Argentinian president. I mean, this was literally one of the houses. And I'm sure you can see for who. But if you need a little more clarification, here's a whole entire paragraph as to who he actually was. And not just him, right? A whole bunch of other people as well. I mean, look at this. It's got the full rundown for each and every one of them. As you can see clearly here. I mean, literally, a physician known as the what? For his role in conducting deadly what? Yeah, I'm sure you get it by now. But this is absolutely insane to even be on the FBI's vault to begin with. And have you seen the aesthetic of Bariloche in itself? It kind of has a lot of resemblance to another nation's towns. I'm not claiming anything to be true, but it's just a weird coincidence, you know what I mean? I always had my theories about it, but this just confirms it. And if you thought you had history figured out, you might want to rethink your reality a little bit.
Watch the movie The Boys from Brazil or watch Capricorn 1. They always put out the truth in late 60s or 70s.
Oh, I don't know if you've heard of the Tartarian Empire, but I'm gonna tell you like this. This is the Waldorf and Astoria Hotel in New York. And they say it was built in 1893 with just a hammer
and a chisel.
And a chisel. So this is the story that they're giving. A couple of millionaires decided to build 2 mansions side by side, then later converted it into a hotel. Now the problem I'm having is, where are these millionaires coming from with all this equipment? You're talking about a time when resources weren't so easy to come by. I don't see no construction photos. I don't see nothing. Do you know how much manpower you would need to build a structure like this? Do you know how many hammers and chisels you would need? And I know what a lot of you are gonna say. They had slaves back then. Are you trying to tell me every slave was a master bricklayer? Was a master mason?
Apparently.
Come on, brother. But surprise, surprise, that building is no longer there. They knocked it down to make way for the Empire State Building. Because any Tartarian building is made with ancient tech and are built on ley lines. So there's no surprise when they knock it down and build their own structure right on top.
This is mind-boggling. But let me know how you feel about this, folks.
Somebody did a reverse image search on the old time traveler that came out of the shed. I just woke up. And I think we found him. So this is the guy that came out of the shed. And I think he looks a lot like this guy, who's got a Quora profile asking questions about time travel. He asked a few questions about time travel. And he's a Harvard graduate that lives in New Mexico. So I asked him on Quora if he's a time traveler. I don't think I'll get a response. Unfortunately, he died. A couple years ago. Or did he? He probably did. I don't know. Interdimensional travel's weird. I'm gonna get exactly 0 work done at work today. Cause I'm gonna need to know everything about Stephen A. Miller. I should just call off and be like, I need to research time travel. I gotta stalk a dead guy because time travel. And that's why I'm not coming to work today. Sounds reasonable. Feels way more important.
Now we just need to see pictures of young Stephen Miller.
In ancient Judea, there was a man who was dead, who became not dead anymore. He undied. Here's why we Christians have reason to believe that the resurrection of Jesus is a true historical event. Between the Gospels and non-Christian first century texts, we know that Jesus was a real person. And we know that there was something special about him because he was so popular. Popular enough, apparently, to be executed for ruffling too many feathers. There's a writing from this Roman historian, Tacitus, who writes about a man he called Christus, who was executed by Pontius Pilate and whose followers founded a religious sect called Christians. This is considered an independent confirmation of the crucifixion by a non-Christian source. However, the only documents that cite the resurrection of Jesus from the dead are Christian sources. But that actually kind of checks out because if he actually rose from the dead and you're documenting it, you're probably going to believe he is who he says he is. So Christian sources like the Gospels cite the reason for Jesus being so popular to be because of his preaching, his working of miracles, and him being the Son of God. The non-Christian view has to lean on his charismatic personality and his claim to be the Messiah. But other guys also claim to be the Messiah. So what made Jesus so much different from every other charismatic figure in history that it resulted in the largest religion in the world and countless alleged miracles throughout history that are still happening today? I'd argue that it's because he is who he says he is. And he rose from the dead, and he's still alive and active in his church today. If you're a Christian and you want to get closer to Jesus, who is alive and active and spiritually present to you right now, you can do that through prayer. There's an app called Hallow, which is dedicated to helping you pray, and I use it almost every day, and I've benefited from it greatly. I highly encourage you to try it out.
He is risen. Truly, he is risen. No one can disapprove the cornerstone of my faith. King of Kings.
If I were to choose to live my life over again, I wouldn't live it in this way. Do you know Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not personally.
No. The book. The end of that book would bring tears to my eyes for years. Christopher Robin has to go to school, and he's telling his friends, the toy animals, that he won't be able to play with them so much anymore. And what I wasn't aware of when I went to medical school and when I was a physician is how driven I was to justify my existence in the world. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. When you're driven to work too hard, you actually ignore what matters. And what matters is what you were telling me last night about how every summer you take a bunch of weeks away from your podcast and you just spend time enjoying your kids and your wife and your family. I didn't do that. I always felt I had to keep working. And the book ends with the statement, and whatever they do, wherever they go in the enchanted forest, the little boy and his bear will always be playing together. And that phrase would bring tears to my eyes for years. People sacrifice their playfulness, their joyfulness, being driven by unconscious needs to validate your existence. And where does that come from? Again, that comes from childhood trauma. Play is so important, and joy is so important. In that sense, we can always keep playing in the enchanted forest, and that's just essential, I think.
The name of the game isn't to die with a big stack of money. Slow down and enjoy what you have.
Here in the center, we are given the St. John's Church, where we know right underneath it is all of these catacombs, all of these bones. And it looks like it is the central location of the entire city. Going back to my point that this might be the reason that so many people today are pulled into these cities on a much deeper level without them even realizing it. You can see the same thing going on in Paris with their catacombs. Like, everybody is gathering around it and they don't even realize it because it's below their feet. And to prove my point, let's show another one and go back to the first one that we talked about. Odessa, Ukraine, where there is clearly an attraction going on here to this central point. It's not like the catacombs are on the outside of the city. They are dead center. Even the old St. Patrick's Cathedral is dead center on this land layout of Lower Manhattan. And the same exact thing with the new one that we saw, went inside of, and will be covering in an upcoming episode. Another centralized catacombs location in Alexandria, Egypt, where the city is circling around it again. And the inside of these ones are pretty intense. They consist of 3 levels, cut through solid rock. Visitors can reach the first level through a breach in the rotunda wall, which of course was made at an unknown date. This leads to a hall of Caracalla, in which the bones of horses and humans were found. They were found. We even have the St. Paul's catacombs, where we have catacombs all the way out on this little island of Malta. And again, right under the church. And here, they give us the layout, the one that's available to the public. And you can see that this is intricate. This is not done by your average cowboy or your random quarry man. They were very advanced and precise with what they were doing all over the world. So what we see on the ground is clearly not all to this place that we live. There is much more below our feet, where I have some incredible things planned for this channel. The more that it grows. The more that it grows, the easier it will get for us to do things. One thing's for sure, and that is that we have a lot more to discover in places that have been here all along. And now that we know that they are there, we can go even further into this research. And do we all understand how this is all connected now when we can go back to episode 68, when we saw the Tron Kirk? And at that time we didn't know. But now we do.
Look at that.
Located in Edinburgh, Scotland. Do we all remember what we read? Do you see now how the more information that we have, the more we understand when we read that the church floor was removed in 1974 to allow...
We need to find out about the Mafia and Reset. How did they kill so many? Who did it and why? By the way, follow his channel on YouTube. It's called My Lunch Break. It's a great channel.
Ever talked about this one. In 2017, a team of Russian scientists went to southern Italy with the express purpose of sending messages to shamans in the past. These stone structures are known as nuraghe. It's widely accepted that these were used by local shamans. The Russian team used a special device known as a Kozyrev mirror, and they had their meditators focus on sending pictograms to the past within the nuraghe. And later those same pictograms were found in the rock art from the local museum. So did the Russians find a way to link the past and the present? For more information, see our book, Kozyrev Mirrors, Time Travel Secrets Revealed.
This absolutely boggles and fascinates me.
So Dunn Jr. made a post, this one. Whatever happens next, what's going to happen next? What are we talking about here? What's going to happen next?
After all, it is presidential election time. They don't want you, American, to vote in person. If you know, you know. Alright folks, I'm going to end our video with these clips. Be kind to each other. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And don't forget to like or dislike so I can make better content. You can also buy me coffee or support me on Patreon if you like. The links are in the description below. Thank you for watching. Peace and God bless.
No. Hey, you're me. I don't want to.